All right, so now we're in this other book. It's called In the Land of Cave and Cliff Dwellers by Lieutenant Frederick Schwatka. All right. Again, in the land of cave and cliff dwellers. All right. So this was an expedition that was done by this guy Frederick Schwatka in the 1800s. And again, this is in the Bureau of Ethnology Library. All right. So we're in page 183, and it's in reference to the Tarahumari Indians. All right. And it says here, in appearance, the Tarahumari savage is, I think, a little above the average height of our own Indians in the Southwest. They are well built and very muscular, while the skin of the cave and cliff dweller is of the darkest hue of any American native I've ever seen, being almost a mixture of the Guinea Negro, with the average copper-colored aborigine that we are so accustomed to see in the western parts of the United States. Again, the Tarahumari.
All right, so real quick, just want to show you what I found in this book. It's a Spanish book. It's called Historia del Descubrimiento y Conquista, History of the Discovery and Conquest of America. It says written in German by the celebrated Campe and translated to Castellano, which is the old Spanish, by Don Francisco Fernandez Villabrilla. All right, so this was written in 1845. All right, and I found this inside the book. It's like one of the only images. There's like 2 or 3 images in this book, and this is one of them. All right, so check it out. It's a so-called negro or negro. This is American Indian Aboriginal. All right, and in the bottom it says Jefe Indio or Indian Chief. Indian Chief. In the bottom it says Jefe Indio or Indian Chief. All right, Amaru Khan. All right, so we're back in the John Carter Brown Library, Archive of Early American Images, and here we have basically some black Caribs, all right? Some black Caribs. Just going to read the description for you. It says, black Carib rulers or chiefs stand before British soldiers. A seated man extends his arm toward them, while another reads from a document. Another soldier stands nearby with a map, also includes guns or muskets. Thought to represent the climax of the First Carib War, when a treaty was made in 1773 between the British and the black Carib chiefs in St. Vincent. Alright, so this is in St. Vincent between black Carib chiefs. Alright, dodge the hijack with black. We're just talking about Caribs, alright, Aboriginals of America. So dodge the hijack with black. We're just looking at Caribs, alright? Caribs, alright, Aboriginals of St. Vincent, Caribbean, possibly other parts of America, alright? Alright, so another map says fascinating map of the southeastern part of the United States based on largely upon Sampson's map of Florida from 1657. Alright, let's zoom in. Alright, so who do you see here? Alright, these are Americans or the Americans. Tamari, Khans, priest kings, the Khans. Alright, the plum serpent, the snake kings. Priest kings, all right, Amaru Khans.
Hawa. All right, now we're in this book. It's called The American Indian, Anishinaabe. The whole subject complete in one volume, illustrated with numerous appropriate engravings by Elijah M. Haynes, and this is what they show. And it says that this is written in 1888 by the Masinagang Company. All right. So what I wanted to show is in this part of the book, start reading here, it says, a general description of the Indian tells us that the Aboriginal of America, again, the Aboriginal, not a Native American, the Aboriginal of America is tall, straight of stature and muscular, having coarse, black hair, coarse, well-formed limbs, deep chest, brown or copper-colored complexion, again, brown or copper-colored complexion, head a little flat, prominent nose, compressed lips, dark eyes, and possessed of great power of endurance. In regard to the complexion of the American Indian, Father Charlevoix says, the color of the savages does not prove a third species between the white and the black, as some people have imagined. They are very swarthy. Swarthy, that means dark-skinned or so-called black, and of a dirty, dark red. A dirty, dark red, ruddy, dark red, copper colored, which appears more in Florida, of which Louisiana is a part. You see? So Florida was most of the southeast. I've told you this many times. I showed you the maps. Florida was basically the southeast of the United States, not just the state of Florida like we think today. It was big. All right, Louisiana was a part of Florida. All right, so even Louisiana, they were very what? The people in Louisiana were what? The native, the Indians, the aboriginals were very swarthy, dark, and a dirty, dark red. I want to show you this image. It's called the Cacique Cangapol of Huechin and his wife. It was the Amaru Khans. All right, and this is from, it says it's a portrait of Native American man and woman, includes the source creator of this is Samuel Hull, Will Coakley. Source title, History of the Viceroyalty of Buenos Aires. That's in Argentina. This is American Indians from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Come on, look at that. Did you know that's what the Argentinians look like, the original? Take a look. Does this look familiar, like any of your family members? And this is from 1807, all right? 1807. Again, the Cacique Cangapol of Huechin and his wife. All right, so now we're in this book by Bernardino de Sahagún, or the Fray, or the Father. He was here during the Conquest in Mexico, very famous primary source historically. He has a lot of volumes. This is one of his volumes, volume 6, History of the Things of New Spain. All right, and it's some basically interpretations of some codices that he basically copied, same ones that are in the prestige libraries, that same ones that Lord Kingsborough has in his Antiquities of Mexico. All right, so this was written in 1905, but this is basically something that he wrote in the 1500s. You can see his old writing, his original, and then look at the images. All right, so look at the images. Why they painted the people this way. This is from the codices. All right, so who's the original Mexica? You see how they painted them, very dark skin. All right, more images. So you see, this one's not dark, but these all are. You see how they're all dark. All right. All right, from the original codices, as you can see. All right, you should distinguish the difference. We're in the original Mexican codices. All right, Mexica people that they found here, exact copies. Look how they depicted themselves. All right, you see this? See the very dark skin color? There's no mistake. All right, so you can see. They got like these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 persons with dark skin appears, these 2 light skinned people. Alright. So you can see the comparison. There's like head wraps and stuff. And more images right here. Alright. Alright, so let me just show this part. Alright, look at this brother right here.
Check it out. Check it out. This brother almost looks Egyptian right here. Check it out. Some more right here as we go down. Alright, take a look. Alright, so we got some more images right here. Alright, check it out. So so-called black people, they depicting themselves, all right, in these codices. All right. Let's keep going and going. All right. Catlin. All right. Here, these are all so-called Negroes right here in these codices. All right. The original Mexica. All right. Another image right here. All right. It's hard to see the name, but check it out. It's so-called Negro. All right. These Mexican codices. All right. The original Mexica, Aboriginal. All right. Another image again. It's a little blurry. This is Shijone. Alright. Another image right here, as you can see. The original Mexica. And it keeps going. This is Vixtoxitla. Alright, check it out. This almost looks Egyptian. If you see this an Egyptian wall, with the one-sided, face, looking only seeing one side, only one eye. You see this? The so-called Negro, they're being depicted right here in this codice, original Mexica, head wraps and everything. Alright, so we just passed this light-skinned person right here. And look at this one. It says Tomia Tekutli. This is a brother right here. This is original Mexica. This is an aboriginal. Did you know this was in a Mexican codice? How come they never showed you this in school? History class. How come they never showed you these codices in these books? How come they didn't put this in textbooks? Huh? Look at that. It says Napate Kuti. Look at this. His crown and everything. Alright, check it out. Brother right there. Original, aboriginal, Mexican. And see the difference? Is light-skinned person right here or lighter. Look at this. Very distinguishable, right? This is another image a lot further down in the book. You see this person? Very dark skin. Alright. Alright, we got some more images here. These are some warriors right here now. See that? That was you. Alright? That was you as a warrior. Alright? Talking about Black Panther. Alright, another one right here. Alright. Another image right here in this codice. Alright. By Bernardino Sahagún, bringing this to us, copying it for us and putting it in his book. You see that? That's your ancestor right there. Ready for war. And right under him, these ain't slaves. These ain't Africans. So Amarukans. Amaru Khans, the priest kings. You see this? Look at his features. You can't deny who that is. Alright, very clear image right here. Alright, these ain't so-called Africans.
All right, so we're again at the John Carter Brown Library, Archive of Early American Images, and we got this image for you right here. I just wanted you to see this. I have this in not the book itself. Let me just zoom in so you see what they're doing. And they're attacking an American Indian. Look how she's depicted. So-called Negro, right? Look at the person on the floor. All right. And in the description, you just want to read it for you. It says Spaniards set dogs on Native American in a bedroom. A group of Europeans stand with guns and flags and reaches into a bag of gold. In the background is a scene of warfare. Source creator, Arnoldus Montanus. All right. And this is from 1671. Source publisher by Jacob Mures Boeck. All right. Test describes Vasco Núñez de Balboa's punishment of sodomy. Balboa had entered the castle of the territory Cuarecuan, probably in Panama, it says here, where he found the king's brother dressed as a woman. Balboa set the dogs on him and had him killed. Among the slain were several black slaves. You hear that? All right, this is another book. Found cover pretty interesting. It says America Precolombiana. All right, so this is a Spanish book, Ensayo Etnológico, based on the investigations, archaeological and ethnographic, of the traditions and monuments of antiquity of America, Indigenous America, all right, dedicated to the Society of Science and Arts by Dr. Mariano Soler, ex-president of the same society, all right. So just wanted to show you this cover right here, all right. So it says this was written in 1887 in Montevideo, that's from Uruguay. Not sure what these Indians are from right here, but so just get a close-up so you can see. All right, who's that in the cover right there? All right, and in the Spanish books, they know. All right, so remember, these are before the 1900s, these books. All right, so we're back at John Carter Brown Library. All right, and right here, I just wanted to see this image right here. Take a look. And it says it's a Native American man wearing a headdress with feathers and feather leg ornaments stands before a dwelling. All right, this is from the Eberhard Werner Happel collection from 1647-1690. And the book is Thesaurus Excoticorum. All right, so it's from a book. As you can see, the text down here. And this is the image again from far away and close up. All right, that's a so-called Negro. All right. All right, we're reading from this book called United States Exploring Expedition during the years 1838, 1839, 1840, 1841, 1842, under the command of Charles Wilkes, USN, Ethnography and Philology. Again, Ethnography and Philology by Horatio Hale. I'm going to go to this part of the book. It says, the Californian Division. The natives of this class are chiefly distinguished by their dark color. Again, we're talking about California, right? Right. Again, the natives of this class are chiefly distinguished by their dark color. Those of northern or upper California are a shade browner than the Oregon Indians, while some tribes in the peninsula are said to be nearly black. Again, some tribes near the peninsula, we're talking about American Indians, are said to be nearly black, so-called black. In other respects, they have the physiognomy of their race, broad faces, a low forehead, and lank coarse hair. We're in this book, The Indian Journals, 1859-62, by Lewis Henry Morgan and Leslie A. White. All right, and it says, the Osagis, the Kas, and Quapas speak the same language with slight dialectical differences. The Osagis and the Kas are both very dark-skinned. Again, the Osagis and the Kas are both very dark-skinned. All right? Very dark-skinned. Very dark skin. All right, so we're in this book now, 500 Nations. All right, I know you've probably seen this cover before. I just want to show you this again. All right, take a look at the cover. You see swarthy, copper-colored aboriginals. All right, I know see the feathers and everything, but you see feathers as well, not just feathers. All right, this is the true old world. Many nations. All right. All right, so just want to bring you right to this image right here. You see this? What do you see here? These are Mayas, right? These are Mayas, all right? This is a real Maya vase. It's spread out, right? But what do you see here, right? So-called Negroes, right? These ain't Africans. All right, we got this one as well, as you can see, Mayas as well. See, scenes like this on painted drinking vessels reveal much about Mayan customs and living arrangements. All right, so you see the dreadlocks. All right, do you see the dreadlocks? All right, down here you see more Mayas. See long dreadlocks coming down. All right, just go to this side. You can see they have prisoners, right? With dreadlocks as well. Let's go to the big image real quick. Alright, so just a little bit zoomed in now, as you can see. These are Mayas, alright? You see the jaguar skins, you see the prisoner with dreadlocks, alright? Alright, take a look at this image now. Alright, what you see here. We got other ones playing sports, probably dancing. Look at this. This is your ancestors. That's how they got down. Alright. But Yuchi people, you see how they are depicted. Alright. So you see how they are depicted, right? Dancing, having a festival, having a blast right here. Getting together right here in the house, under the cabin. Alright, take a look at this image. Very cool right here. Colorful. You can see who these people are, right? And these are some hustlers, right? These are like traders. They're just on these trading routes, and they just be chilling. Alright, seeing what they can trade. Alright, so see how they're pimped out and decked out. You see all the clothes they got on. Alright. You've been here. You've been hustling on the corner. You've been here. Alright. Check it out. Alright. So I know this looks very blurry, but I'm going to show you that this is why I'm saying that. It says on the opposite side, which was the picture we just saw, it says the lures of the fur trade uprooted many Indian peoples, creating a new class of hang-around-the-fort Indians who benefited from the presence of the Europeans. These colorfully dressed Ottawas, all right? Those were Ottawas. We're going to go back to them, all right? Veterans of the fur trade were painted at Fort Michilimackinac in Upper Michigan in the 18th century. All right, so let's go back to them. All right, so again, we just read it. So these are Ottawas. So they were benefiting from just chilling, hanging around, waiting on the Europeans to get some money out of them, hustle them for whatever way, do some trade, do some business with them. All right, these are hustlers right here. You see how they're decked out? They got ill clothes, they got hats, top hats. They got, they're decked out. All right, these were hustlers. So, all right, so take a look at this image now. All right, this is a Mohawk, American Indian, I believe, Mohawk. See how he's holding here? Look at the cross symbols or the TOF or the X, right? All right, check it out. All right, so again, this is a Mohawk Indian, and he has a fro. Like I've seen other images of the same painting, and it's a fro basically. All right, Mohawk American Indian. All right. All right, so now this image right here is actually a painting that's in the Mexican presidential palace. All right, from the stories and life of Quetzalcoatl. All right, and I just want to show you how they drew the, Mexica people. Look at these are so-called Negroes. All right. Look how they painted the people. All right. You see this? Diego Rivera is the painter. Again, this is in the Presidential Palace, Mexico City. All right, these are the Mexica Indians. Look at that.
Another image depiction of the Mexica or Aztec. This is Tenochtitlan. You see built on a lake, man-made islands, floating islands they call them. Very clean, thousands and millions of people. As you can see the people, how they're painted here. All right. Check it out. Look at these brothers right here. Look at this person right here. All right. Got a light-skinned person right here. You see the difference? All right. All right, more depictions of the Mexica. Look at all the pyramids in the background in Tenochtitlan. This middle of this lake. See, they took all this down. You see all the palaces and everything they had. It was magnificent, as it was described by Cortez. You see the people here, right? So-called Negroes. Look at this person right, how dark she is. Right? I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm trying to make a point, because we've gone over my series. We've read a lot of information. I'm just trying to show you images right here, so you can see it's all over these books. We just got to do a little bit of research. All right? This is your people right here.
So we got this book. It says here, a voyage of discovery into the South Sea and Bering Straits for the purpose of exploring a northeast passage undertaken in the years 1815, 1818, at the expense of His Highness the Chancellor of the Empire, Count Romanov, in the ship Rurik, under the command of the Lieutenant in the Russian Imperial Navy, Otto von Kotzebue. All right, this is volume 1, 1821. And it says here, the coast of California is inhabited by so many tribes, that there are frequently in the mission Indians of more than 10 different races, each which has its own language. All right. As we were leaving the mission, we were surprised by 2 groups of Indians, which were also composed of different nations. They were different. They came in military array, that is, quite naked, and painted with gay colors. The head of the most were adorned with feathers and other finery. Some of them, however, had their long, disordered hair covered with down, and their faces daubed in the most frightful manner. There is nothing remarkable in their war dance, and I only regretted that I did not understand the words of their song. The physiognomy of these Indians is ugly, stupid, and savage. Otherwise they are well-formed, tolerably tall, and of a dark brown complexion. Dark brown complexion. The women are short and very ugly. They have much of the Negro in their countenance. Again, they have much of the Negro. They have much of the Negro, so-called Negro. You see what I'm reading to you? You see what is written in this book in 1821? They're talking about the Indians of California. They're telling you this is different people. There's different tribes here. There's different people here. There's light-skinned tribes and there's people with dark brown complexion. And the women of these men are much of the Negro in their countenance. Have much of the Negro in their countenance. All right, we're still in the John Carter Library. John Carter Brown, Archive of Early American Images. All right, and it says this is a group of Native Americans. They stand and kneel before King George I, actually George II, of England, who is seated on the throne. Includes feathered headdresses and clothing, quiver of arrows, eagle feathers, and necklace. All right, and this is from the book. I have it also, but I just wanted to show you this one because this one's a good image. All right, it's from the World Displayed, or a curious collection of voyages and travels selected from the writers of all nations. That's in volume 5. All right, from 1760. All right, publication of this book. All right, Indian chiefs making speech to King George I. You see, copper-colored, so-called Negro. So it says that in 1734, James Otto Thorpe brought the Native Americans Tomochichi Miko, or King of the Jama Cross, Senakwi, his consort, Tonakowi, his nephew, Hilipili, Apakotski, Stimelechi, Sintuchi, Hinguti, and Umpichi, and 5 other chiefs with their interpreter to the English court at Kennings. All right, so now we continue with some more images. We're in this book. It's called Heroes and Hunters of the West, comprising sketches and adventures of Bone, Kenton, Brady, Logan, Wetzel, Fleethart, Hughes, Johnston. And this is from 1855. All right, real quick. So just here, right, almost close to the beginning, we got this. It says Capture of Bone, and this is the American Indian they're showing. You see the difference in the complexion with the light-skinned European and the indigenous person right here. We also got this image right here. You can see it shows, says Massacre of Miss Wetzel and her children. So, all right. Show the complexion of the Indian compared to the, Miss Wetzel and her kids. Just real quick, just want to show you, because I'm showing you images, but there's a lot of dropping in all these books. We're not reading it this today, but we're going to read a little bit. It says Louis Wetzel, right? All right, so it says the Wetzel family is remembered in the West for the courage, resolution, skill, and border warfare displayed by 4 of its members. All right, so I guess they were fighting, the ancestors. All right. It says, in the hottest part of the Indian War, old Mr. Wetzel, who was a German, built his cabin some distance from the fort of Wheeling. All right, so he's a German. All right. It says here, the appearance of Louis Wetzel was enough to strike terror in the common men. He was about 5 feet 10 inches high, having broad shoulders, a full breast, muscular limbs, a dark skin. So he's a German, but he has dark skin. So we're reminded of Benjamin Franklin telling us that, in his time, mostly all of Europe was swarthy, right? Or dark skin, right? Because, the original Germans and, Europeans were of dark skin. So this book is letting you know that this Louis Wetzel, who was a European who established himself here and it was killing our ancestors because they were fighting them, right? Trying to take their land and everything. That's why they... So now take a look at this image right here. All right, look at this person's complexion, and actually look at his hair. It's not that straight. It's pretty wavy and, curly. Chikatomo. All right, Chikatomo. All right, so this is another image here. All right, take a look at this. Now you tell me who that is right there. So-called Negro, American Indian, Aboriginal. All right, you see what they're drawing, right? It can't be any more clear than this. All right, Indian in ambush, right? So you see all the lightness around him. You see his complexion, right? All right, this is another image. All right, it says an Indian chief, and I think this is an image from an Indian chief in New York. I think we have this in another book that I've shown before. All right, so take a look at this. You can see kind of like curly hair, but see the fringes. All right, see how his clothing is. The fringes all over the place. An Indian chief. All right. All right, we got another American Indian here. It says that this is Captain Pipe. Captain Pipe, all right? He gets down. Look at the fringes as well. All right. Check him out. See his complexion as well. Very dark, very swarthy, very copper colored. All right. All right, take a look at this image right here. As you can see, what's he about to do? All right, what does it say? It says slaughter of Miss Inez. All right, Miss Inez got slaughtered. Yeah, so you see this image scalping people too, you don't play. All right, you see this? Wow, look at that. Now I got this image too right here. All right, let me just show you what it looks like flipped. All right, so you can see who has who in captivity. All right, just look at the image right here. Yeah, take a look at this one right here. All right, use your senses. So-called Negro. All right, it says it's a Sioux chief. All right, so take a look. Do you remember? Do you remember your ancestors? Huh? You know who you are? All right, pay attention to this image now. As you can see, it says Captain held in council with the Potawatomis. All right, take a good look. Now look at see their darker complexion, but also look at their hair. Almost looks like braids coming down. All right, but you see? All right, take a look at this image right here. All right, now look very closely. All right, what do you see here? What's going on here? Look at this. Who's that right there? So-called Negro. Battle between mounted troops and the Indians. Mounted troops and the Indians. All right. So battle going on here. A deserter acting as a guide. See this? All right. Do you remember who you are? Do you remember the ancestors? It says Morgan's triumphed. Doesn't say who this is, but look at it. It's another image right here. Alright. It says a Shawanese chief. Fringes all over. Alright. Alright, so we got this image right here. As you can see how they depict the American Indians. Look at their different turban, look at the different clothing, feathers. Yeah, we had all that. We're trendsetters, right? As you can see, their hair types. Look at this brother right here. She has long hair, but he doesn't. We had all kinds of hair, okay? Not just one type. We had all kinds of complexions, very dark to very light. All right, very different clothing, all that. So again, this is the map of South America by Herman Moss, 1730, all right? From the book Voyages and Travels, mainly during the 16th and 17th centuries, Volume 1, with an introduction by C. Raymond Beasley. It says, from the Westminster Archibald Constable and Co. Company, 1903. It says, at the time of our being there, the city of Santo Domingo was not above 500 households of Spaniards, but of the Indians dwelling in the suburbs there were more. The country is, most part of the year, very hot and very full of a kind of flies or gnats with long bills, and it says in parentheses mosquitoes, which do prick and molest the people very much in the night when they are asleep, and prickling their faces and hands and other parts of their bodies that lie uncovered, and make them to swell wonderfully. So they are talking about mosquitoes. Also there is another kind of a small worm, which creepeth into the soles of men's feet, and especially of the black Moors, or in parentheses, Indians. So that he's referring to the Indians as black Moors. Alright, on another book here, it's called Stories of the Indians. Alright, as you can see, written in 1850. Got this image right here in this book I found. And it says it's a Red Jacket Chief. We also got a depiction of him in another book. He was also, he looked like a so-called Negro, right? Look at him here. Alright. Red Jacket Chief. Alright. Here we got an Indian with his bow and arrow. Alright. Look at that. And they also have this image again of this American Indian. And this time it says it's an Indian chief. And I saw it in another book, actually, it's from Massachusetts. It says Massachusetts Indian. Alright, so now I got this other image up here from another book. Alright, it's as you can see, Aboriginals here. You got drums, they're dancing. You see them how they're getting down. As you can see, some people over here being entertained. You see their complexion is a little different than the American Indians. Alright, so again, as you can see, they're dancing. Look at these brothers right here. And so the description says this is Native Americans dance for two European men in robes. Alright, so the source says now Kerish Barsemeli der Genetum. This is from 1524 to 1526. Alright, source publisher, source date 1707 when they published it. The text discusses the Illinois people who danced for explorers Jacques Marquette, a Jesuit missionary, and Louis Joliet, a fur trader who explored the Mississippi River in 1673. The image follows the special title page for On the King van Enish. Alright, so just the history behind this. You see Illinois Indians. Alright, Illinois Indians. Alright, just real quick as well, this other book I found, I was only able to get like the cover of the images. So it says the Book of the Indians of North America, comprising details in the lives of about 500 chiefs and others, the most distinguished among them. Also a history of their wars, their manners and customs. Speaking of orators, from their first being known to Europeans to the present time. Alright, so it says first peopling of America. Alright, you see the image they got here. Alright, check it out. Alright, so-called Negro, that's you. Alright. The Book of the Indians. The American Indian. You see how they draw you back in these books by Samuel G. Drake, 1833. All right. Samuel G. Drake, published by Joshua Drake. All right. All right, so now I want to show you this image. All right, I've seen this on the internet a lot as well. The book is in German. I got the original too. It's just much easier here on this website. It's already listed. So it says America number 14, Ban Florida. All right, so you can see this is a so-called Negro. All right, so the description says portrait of a Native American holding a feathered object, wearing ornaments and a headdress. The source is New Eropnetes Amphitheatrum Warinen. All right, this is from 1723. All right, the image of the Florida Indian is derived from the title page of Theodore de Bry's America. All right, Theodore de Bry's America. Look it up. Theodore de Bry's America. I want to show you this image as well. So the image title says the author revenges the death of his Indian wife by killing 2 of the 3 Indians that attacked them. Look at that. The Indians are the so-called Negro people in this image. This is from the book The Voyages, Dangerous Adventures, and Imminent Escapes of Captain Richard Falconer. This is written by W.R. Chetwood in 1766. Again, this is the American Indians. They're shown right here, so-called Negroes. Just take a look at this image, very popular on the internet as well. You just scalp somebody, all right? Check it out. It says an Indian warrior. All right, so again, Aboriginal. We had all types of hair, you see? All right, all kinds of depictions and all these different types of books. It says description: Native American holds a scalp and an axe or tomahawk. In the background, a Native American takes the scalp from a fallen soldier, while other soldiers are shot in a scene of warfare. It includes bandolier, pistol, and muskets or guns. You see the whole image right there. Another one's doing the scalping. You remember the days of war? You had to scalp. So this is from 1789. 1789. I got another image right here. Wanted to show you. Look at them on with the chalice. What's going with the chalice? All right, they're drinking stuff and doing whatever it is, and they got their fire going back here. They looks like they're partying, right? So it says burial practices of the natives of Venezuela. Again, we're in the John Carter Brown Library, Archives of Early American Images. And just read the description here a little bit. The source was Gottlieb Tobias Wilhelm from the book Unterhalten über den Menschen. All right, and this is from 1819. It says that Yanomami, a Venezuelan Amazonian forest burned their dead and crushed the bones remaining in the funeral pyre into ash powder, which they then drink to internalize their ancestors' power. Wow. Gottlieb Tobias Wilhelm was a Bavarian clergyman and naturalist in Augsburg. This book is an encyclopedic overview representing scientific knowledge of the time, including mankind and its delineation of natural history. So they're letting you know straight up. So when he wrote this, this is a scholarly source at the time, so you can see how he depicted the American Indians. You see, color, right? Venezuela, right? I want to show you this image now. Also have this book. It's a German book. You can see the American Indians. This is a so-called Negro. Just take a look. You can see over here. Look at that. See that? Holding the baby. All right. And over here. And this is from a book. This is actually in Guatemala. This is in Guatemala. And we just it says a monk holding a book stands before Native Americans who offer him riches in the forms of coins, rolls of tobacco, food, and jewels. Include soldiers, parasol, blow, feathered headdresses, and spears. This is from the 1700s. Aboriginals right here from Central America.
Was from the book The Native Races of the Pacific States of North America by Hubert Howie Bancroft. This is volume 1. Some ethnologists see in the Californians a stock different from that of any other American race. But the more I dwell upon the subject, the more convinced I am that, except in the broader distinctions, specific classifications of humanity are but idle speculations. Their height rarely exceeds 5 feet 8 inches and is more frequently 5 feet 4 or 5 inches, and although strongly, they are seldom symmetrically built. A low retreating forehead, black, deep-set eyes, thick, bushy eyebrows, salient cheekbones, a nose depressed at the root, and somewhat wide, spreading at the nostrils, a large mouth with thick, prominent lips, teeth large and white, but not always regular, and rather large ears is the prevailing type. And who did that just describe? Their complexion is much darker than that of the tribes farther north, much darker, often being nearly black, or black, so-called black, right? Copper colored. So that with their matted bushy hair, sounds like braids to me, or dreadlocks, which is frequently cut short, they present a very uncouth appearance. So these sources, it says it, at Bodega Bay, they are ugly and brutish race, many with Negro profiles. This is ID page 103. They are physically an inferior race and have flat, unmeaning features, long, coarse, straight black hair, big mouths, and very dark skins. Revere's Tour, page 120. Large and strong, their color being the same as that of the whole territory. Morrill's Journal, page 47. It is said of the natives of the Sacramento Valley that their growth is short and stunted. They have short, thick necks and clumsy heads. The forehead is low, the nose flat with broad nostrils, the eyes very narrow and showing no intelligence, according to them, right? The cheekbones prominent and the mouth large. The teeth are white, but they do not stand in even rows, and their heads are covered by short, thick, rough hair. Who is that? Their color is dirty, yellowish brown. That's their best description. Dirty, yellowish brown. In their racist views. Pfeiffer's Second Journal, page 307. This race of Indians is probably inferior to all others on the continent. Many of them are diminutive in stature, but they do not lack muscular strength, and we saw some who were tall and well formed. Their complexion is dark mahogany, or often nearly black. Their face is round or square, with features approximating nearer to the African than the Indian. Alright? This is in a historical, anthropological account book from this scholar. Alright? And he's actually using other sources here, not just his source.
Alright, so we're in the John Carter Brown Library image collections. Just wanted to show you this image. A lot of you probably already know about it. So first of all, let me just read a little bit about the description here. It says, allegorical figure of America as a Native American woman. Alright, they're going to say allegorical always. Seated on an alligator holding a cornucopia, plenty, right? Very fertile land. A parrot attended by 4 figures representing different Native American people. Representing 4 figures, right? Here's one of them. Alright, there's 2 right here. You see them? So-called Negro. And then on the other side we got other ones. You see that? So do you remember who you are? Of course we got her on the alligator, right? Check it out. Who is this? Look at the feathers. You seen the slave ads when they were selling slaves, how they were dressed? Same thing. This is from 1701 to 1750. Alright, America. Alright, so now we're in this book. It's called The Present State of Peru, comprising its geography, topography, natural history, mineralogy, commerce, blah, blah, blah. Its inhabitants, right? State of literature, philosophy, and the arts, and all that stuff. The whole drawn from original and authentic documents. Alright, let me zoom in from original and authentic documents, chiefly written and compiled in the Peruvian capital and embellished by 20 engravings of customs. Right, this is written in 1805 and is written by Joseph Skinner. So look at this. These are real Incas. Look at how they're dressed. All right, this is their costume. All right, their royal costume, it says. All right, see how they're depicted. You see this? These are so-called Negroes. Remember City of David, Cusco. What did we find there? City of David. What did we find there? Have you seen my City of David video? Go take a look. Just take a look, but look at how they're dressed here. Look at this. This is royalty. True American Indians, true Incas. And we continue the same book. We're on page 150. Another image of an American Indian woman. All right, you see her copper-colored, cinnamon, swarthy complexion. All right, it says female warrior of the Yuri Magua, Maya, Yuri Magua tribe, Yuri Magua. Magua, Hawa, Yuri Magua, Yuri Magua. Alright, you see that? Do you remember who you are? Look at that. Who are we looking at right here? An Indian. You see the difference of how they're colored, right? They make clear distinctions. It says Indian warrior belonging to a barbarous tribe. They call you barbarous. Alright, so this is another map right here, and it says it's the scarce map of the southeastern portion of the United States based on the Ponde Le Isol's map of 1718. So let me zoom into the aboriginals that are depicted here, as you can see. Copper-colored so-called Negroes, you see? Alright, what do you see here as well? Lions, right? They're hunting what? They're shooting at who? Lions. Then I just make a video showing mammals, cats, carnivores, all that originated here in America. And you see they're hunting lions. Why are they showing lions here? Still in John Carter Brown Library, Archive of Early American Images. And as you can see here, it says a man and a woman of the Otigamis. Let me just zoom in. All right. I know you've probably seen these images on the internet. And when they're put in color, they're very dark skinned. And we find that image in this book travels through the interior parts of North America in the year 1766, 1767, 1768. I just wanted you to see, they're talking about their complexion and all that. It says they are in general slight made rather tall. It says their skin is of reddish or copper color. Reddish or copper color. Copper colored tribes of America. All right. So on page 228 of this book, you would find the image I just showed you. This is how it looks when it's colorized. It's from the same books. Again, travels through the interior parts of North America. All right, these are just images, and I just want you to see. You see what they really depicted as? When you add color to them, these are so-called Negro people. All right, American Indian. Go back to it. John Carter Libraries. This is how it looks without the color, and this is what it looks with the color. Do you remember who you are? All right, so I just want to share these three images right here. So right here in the left, we have depictions of South America and Paraguayan people, or the American Aboriginals of Paraguay. Hard to see that today, but yeah, they're still there today still. And these were the original Paraguayans. All right, in the middle we have an American novel, 10 cents American novels. All right, number 147, very old. It says the Red Warrior, or Stella Delorme's Comanche Lover. You see how they depict a so-called Negro. Look at her complexion. All right, and then at the right we got what? Monroe's 10-cent novels. Number 284 says the Mohawk Queen. All right. So look at him. Look how they're fighting. This is a so-called Negro he's fighting. Look at that. Can it be any more clear? I mean, look how darker he is to the light-skinned European here, right?
The Native Races of the Pacific States of North America by Hubert Howie Bancroft. And the sources continue, says in general, fine stout men. A great diversity of physiognomy was noticeable, says Pickery's Races in US XX Volume 9, page 105 107. On the Sacramento were fine, robust men of low stature and badly formed. Wilkes' narration, I guess, in US Volume 5, page 198. The mouth is very large, and the nose broad and depressed, chiefly distinguished by their dark color. Alright, they're chiefly distinguished by their dark color. Broad faces, a low forehead. Haley Ethnologies, Volume 6, page 222, says their features are coarse, broad, and of a dark chocolate color. Dark chocolate color. How more specific can that be? Taylor in California Farmer says November 2nd, 1860. At Drake's Bay, just above San Francisco, the men are commonly so strong of body that they which 2 or 3 of our men could hardly bear. And one of them will take upon his back, and without grudging carry it easily away, uphill and downhill, an English mile together. Says Drake's World in Compass, I guess, page 131. Los naturales de este sitio y puerto son algo trigueños por los quemados del sol. It says the inhabitants of this area are dark colored. Trigueño in Spanish is almost like saying dark skin, dark color. Because of the sun, it says, por lo quemado del sol. La vida de Junipero, Sarah, page 215. Ugly, stupid, and savage. Otherwise, they are well formed, tolerably tall, and of a dark brown complexion. So even though he's pointing out his racist views, right, he's being completely honest. You can see he's saying ugly, stupid, and savage, right? That's what he thinks, honestly, of them. But he's also letting us know, honestly, that they are of a dark brown complexion. The women, he continues, are short and very ugly. They have much of the Negro in their countenance. All right, so this guy's a very honest guy. And he's saying the women have much of the Negro in their countenance. Come on, let's wake up.
So it's called History of the Indian Tribes of North America, with biographical sketches and anecdotes of the principal chiefs, embellished with 100 portraits from the Indian Gallery in the War Department at Washington by Thomas L. McKinney, late of the Indian Department in Washington, in 2 volumes. So this is volume 1, and this is from 1872. So I start with this image right here of this American Indian woman. All right, let me get a little close up. As you can see, copper colored. And down here it says it's Tishusik and Ojibwe woman. An Ojibwe woman. All right, this is an American Indian, full blood. All right, so I got this other image right here of this American Indian man. So let's see who he is. This is Wake Chai, a Sauki chief. Sauki, or Fox tribe, Sauki. All right, take a good look at him. You got this other image right here in this book. I mean, look at the colors right here. It looks like the tribe of Judah colors, right? You see that? And it says that that's Wapella, a Muskaki chief. You see that? It has this image right here. Right? You see this? So-called Negro, copper-colored tribes of America. This is a Seminole Indian. I think it's Billy Bowles. Yep, Billy Bowlegs, Seminole chief. You see that? Got another image right here. Take a look at this one. Very cool. Very detailed. That says Neo Mon Ni, an EOY chief as well. EOY. Alright, you see this? Copper color, so-called Negro. Alright, I want to show you this image now. You've probably seen this in color in the internet. Alright, just look at their hair. These two right here, the first ones. Alright, if you've seen the colorized image of this, these are so-called, Negroes. You can see the very dark hue, swarthy complexion that they have in the colorized version. And these are Indians from California, and it's supposed to be in in San Jose, California, and the mission says 6 Native Americans of the mission of St. Joseph dance to a drum. Includes tattoos, feather headdresses, and garments, earrings, necklaces, and dwellings. Source creator Jean-Baptiste Debret, and the source title from Voyage Pictoresque e Historique a Brasil. Alright, so that's from a French book. So you see how they get down and tattoos and the color they put on. Alright, so I want to show you this image, very revealing image of, let me just see, Sir Walter Raleigh, right? It says, takes the city of St. Joseph. Alright, I believe this is near Venezuela, an island off the coast of Venezuela, and sets 5 caciques, or in Trinidad, and sets 5 caciques who were chained together at liberty. These are caciques. You thought these were slaves? African slaves? These are caciques. All right, I have another version of this image from another book, as you can see. So-called Negroes, right? These ain't Africans. These are caciques, catzin, chiefs, catzin, caciques, caciques. This is from the source of this is from the book The World Displayed, or a curious collection of voyages and travels selected from the Writers of All Nations, Volume 4. All right, this is from Volume 4 of that book. And again, the description says, a few European men stand in front of a prison gate next to which are 5 Native Americans chained together. All right, so real quick, I mean, right on the cover it says here, Handbook to Life in the Ancient Maya World, Lynn and B. Foster. All right, and she happens to have this image here on her cover of her book. And this is from Bonampak Murals. All right, if you don't know, go Google that. Bonampak Murals, Bonampak, Bonampak. And you'll see images like this on the walls. And they just found this. They went inside a temple, and this is what they found inside the walls. This is how they painted themselves, the Mayas. All right, the people who went to India and all that. The plum serpent, or the serpents. Snake Kings, the Snake Kingdom they just found in Guatemalan jungle. All right, take a look at this image right here. Just want to show you something. I'm going to zoom in. All right, so you see all kinds of people, right? You see a lot of light-skinned people up here, but then you see a brother right here sitting down. Do you see him right here? All right, and you go down into the water in the boats. You see 2 so-called Negroes right here, or darker-skinned Indians being taken on a ride by lighter skin. Same thing over here. All right, and over here. All right, they're being rowed. It says the sea trade mural detail Temple of the Warriors in Chichen Itza, Terminal Classic Period. That's where they found that. This next image is pretty cool. I mean, you've probably seen this in color going around the internet. I've shown it a couple of times in my videos. Just wanted to show you. I just said dreadlocks. You see these prisoners down here also have dreadlocks. You see that? All right. And you can see these are copper color so-called Negroes, all of them. All right, because if you see them in color, it's clear. And it says Bonampak Mural. Again, Bonampak Mural. And so it says Bonampak Mural, Room 2. Bonampak warriors present their dying captives on the palace steps at the city. This famous mural suggests that more than just rituals was involved in such ceremonies. In another scene in the throne room, tribute bundles are displayed and marked with hieroglyphics indicating the contents as cacao beans in spondylus shells. All right, so you see how they're bleeding from their fingers. They cut the foreskin of their fingers. All right, is that biblical? I want to show you this image. Pretty cool image I found here on the John Carter Brown Library, Archive of Early American Images. As you can see here, this is the brother right here with the dark complexion next to all these other Europeans is an American Indian. All right, let me zoom out so y'all can see where he's at. All right, so this is Niagara Falls. This is a painting or drawing of Niagara Falls. I want to just read the description to you. And the description says, view of Niagara Falls with priest, monk, other European men, a Native American or an American Aboriginal, wearing feathered headdress and a dog in foreground. And in the picture, it shows black men slaves, and it has a question mark because they don't know if it's slaves. Those are other Indians. So if this Indian is the same color as the so-called slaves over here depicted in the picture, so the American Indian looks just like these so-called black slaves, right? So that's why they have a question mark, because they ain't trying to tell you straight up that it's just like the American Indian over here, the same people. So the time period of this is from 1751 to 1800. And the creator says Robert Hancock. All right, again, this is from A Perspective View of Negra, drawn by Hancock, based upon Robert Sayer's view, published in London circa 1751-1770, which in turn derived from the view of the Falls, first published in Louis Hennepin's novel Découverte Urège in 1697.
The Native Races of the Pacific States of North America by Hubert Howie Bancroft. Cousin View's Voyage, Volume 1, page 282 and 3. They all have very savage look and are of a very dark color. Again, very dark color, all of them. Vancouver's Voyage, Volume 2, page 13. Says the Alcones are of good height, and the Tularois were thought to be generally above the standard of Englishmen. Their complexion is much darker than that of the South Sea Islanders. It's much darker actually than the South Sea Islanders. You hear that? And their features far inferior in beauty. Beachy's Voyage, Volume 2, page 76. At Santa Clara, they are of a blackish color. Again, in Santa Clara, they are of blackish color. They have flat faces, thick lips, and black coarse straight hair. Moral's Voyage, page 212. At Placerville, they are most repulsive-looking wretches. They are nearly black, and are exceedingly ugly according to his race's views. Borthwick's 3 years in, is that Khalifa or California, page 128. In the Yosemite Valley, they are very dark colored. In Yosemite Valley, Yosemite National Park, they are very dark colored.
All right, so we continue with the book. So this is another one I have here. Says A Pictorial History of America, embracing both the northern and southern portions. All right, and check it out. Look at the American Indians right here. Look at that. This here is Spaniards discovering tobacco. All right, so check it out. Check out the American Indians. Go to this side over here. And it says Columbus communicating with natives of Cuba. All right, so let's zoom in a little bit here. So Columbus communicating with the natives of Cuba. Look at how the natives of Cuba look. All right, we got this image right here. Check it out. It says Atahualpa holding the Bible to his ear. All right, so they were trying to evangelize him and make him, get into Christianity and Jesus and all that. So he was like, he was making fun of them. He's like, what are you talking about? I don't hear nothing in this book. This image right here. Check it out. All right, and it says Hualpa discovering the mind. Look at that. So-called Negro. This is in Peru. All right, another image here. Giving them trinkets, right? Another image here. Very interesting. It says the Fountain of Youth. Again, who had the Fountain of Youth? Your ancestors. Remember Wakanda Springs, a healing spot. All right, there's another image. It says here, Indian princess in a barge. All right, check it out. Their canoes or boats. All right, so we have another image here. Very interesting image. We've already talked about this person, John Eliot. All right, in the Hebrew Aboriginal series that I got. It says here, Eliot preaching to the Indians. All right, this is in Massachusetts. All right, let's close in. This is Eliot preaching to the Indians. Remember, Eliot wrote the first Bible in America in the Algonquin language. And John Eliot said that the Indians were the lost tribes of Israel. Very similar to the Hebrew, and that the Algonquin language had very, very strong affinities to the Hebrew. Just like William Penn said about the Lenape Indians. Alright, this image right here, let me just zoom in. It says it's a portrait of King Philip. Alright, King Philip. They always show him a different way, but alright, dark skin, alright. King Philip. Massachusetts, right? The Pequot. And the next, well, close to the next page, it says the death of Philip. Alright, it seems they cut his head off, and it seems like it was another American Indian doing it for the English. The death of Philip, look. It's like they're snitching on him. What's going on here? Or there's other tribes. And we got another image here of a so-called savage American Indian herding white people. All right, for nothing, right? Massacre at Roanoke. Got another image here. It says, kiss Noakes with his lance and medicine bag. Another image right here. Take a look. This is in the Caribbean. It says natives of the West India Islands. West India Islands. Look at that. I got another image here. I just want to show you, take a good look at this person right here. This drawing. Alright, this is in Patagonia. This is in South Argentina, or in South tip of South America, Patagonian. Alright, and then we have another one right here from the same region. This is a fusion. I have other books with another depiction more clearly, but very thick lips. They're described as dark skin in these other books. The fusion, right? The fusion. Alright, there's again the tip of South America down the bottom. I'm in the book here from the Smithsonian Institution Bureau of American Ethnology, Bulletin 73. It says the early history of the Creek Indians and their neighbors by John R. Swanson. All right. And it says here on page 43, it says the Spaniards have visited several regions of that vast country. And they're like, I believe, in the area of South Carolina, North Carolina, where they first arrived in the 1500s. You caught my past videos. They're called Arambi, Guaycaya, Cuajate, Tansaca, and Pajor. Do you know the name? Do you ever heard of these names, these tribes? The color of the inhabitants is what? Dark brown. The color of the inhabitants is dark brown. Dark brown. None of them have any system of writing, but they preserve traditions of great antiquity in rhymes and chants. In rhymes and chants? So we got inhabitants who are dark brown, who be rhyming and chanting. Rhyming, right? Rhyming, freestyling, chanting, rhymes, dark brown. Put it together. Dancing and physical exercises are held in honor, and they are passionately fond of ball games. They're very fond of ball games. Who does this sound like? Let's go again. Inhabitants are dark brown, right? They pass their time in rhymes and chants, and they're very fond of ball games, in which they exhibit the greatest skill. They're very good at it too. Alright, they're very good at it. They're fond of ball games, and they're very good at it. They're dark brown. Their complexion is dark brown, and they be rhyming. Continue with the John Carter Brown Library, archive of early American images. And right here we have a Indian, American Aboriginal. All right, let me zoom out. As you can see, they show this light-skinned person or European next to the Aboriginal right here. You see the difference in hue. And this is from an allegorical figure of America, supposedly as a woman in classical dress standing beside a plinth inscribed to the memory of George Washington. A Native American child with feathered headdress also stands beside the stone. A Native American child, all right? See his skin color, all right? And the background is Niagara Falls. In the background is Niagara Falls with Native American figures. You see them down here? Decorative elements include American flags bearing tree. Alright, take a look at this image right here. It's a very incredible image. Hard to find. It says a family of Botocudos on a journey. Alright, let me zoom in so you can see. So-called Aboriginals, so-called Negroes. Alright, so I want you to see that, I got this book, you can see where they got the image from. But, I just want you to see what I'm finding and what I'm seeing here so you can see as well, alright? Go back, this is what this is true. All right. Again, a Native American man, woman, and 3 children ford a body of water. The man carries a bow and arrow or spears. Both the man and woman have sacks of belongings suspended by bands around their heads. Wooden plugs are inserted into man's and woman's lower lips and earlobes. All right. Again, this is from Maximilian or Prince von Maximilian Wield, 1867, 1820s when he published the book. All right, so it says the name Botocudos was given to this tribe by Weed and refers to the wooden plugs tribe members wore in their lower lip and earlobes. All right, so that's not even their name. That's why he named them.
I will read from this book now, Race Relations in Virginia and the Miscegenation in the South, 1776 to 1860 by James Hugo Johnston. So let's start right here, right after it says schools. It says, in all the southern states there are found to be records of cases sent to the courts of appeals in which the litigants attempt to show that they are descendants of Indians and not of Negroes, and hence that they do not fall subject to the slave code. So you can see that from even a long time ago, there was a lot of so-called Negro people that were Indian fighting for their right to be recognized as an Indian. These cases add interest to the study of pedigree, but they must be considered as additional evidence of the extensive mixture of racial blood in the slave states. To the visitor in the South, the physical characteristics of many Negro slaves bore witness to their Indian origin. Again, so if you went to the South, he's clearly telling you that you would notice that the physical characteristics of many of the Negro slaves bore witness to their Indian origin.
This is from James Hugo Johnston, right? A 1937 doctoral dissertation at Virginia State University. I'm going to read from this book now. It's called The History of Hernan de Soto in Florida, of records of the events of 56 years from 1512 to 1568 by Barnard Shipp, printed in 1881. All right, so let's get into it. It says, during the 3 days that the Spaniards recruited themselves, they saw on the last day about noon, coming from a place full of reeds, 7 boats, which advanced towards them. There was in the first a very large and very black Indian, of an aspect very different from those who inhabit the interior of the country. So he's saying that he saw a very large and very black Indian. Put an expression, to the word black, says very black. So he's emphasizing how black the Indian appeared to him. All right, so what could that mean? Got another map here. It says old map of Jamaica. All right, and I'm gonna zoom in to the aboriginals depicted here in this image on this map of Jamaica. Check it out. As you can see, out of many, one people, right? Jamaica. So this is by Mateo Ceutero. That's the map maker of this. Alright, so I got this other book. It's called A Pictorial History of the United States with notices of other portions of America by the same person, by S.G. Goodrich. I guess he has different volumes, different versions of this. Alright, so I just wanted to show you the right from the beginning and the cover. Alright, it says frontispiece. It says, an American Indian contemplating the progress of civilization. Alright, so you see, so-called Negro. They knew it all along. They have this in their books. Alright, so I just want to show you, like, this book, the same book has different editions and versions as time went on, and they kept changing the character in the beginning until he became very light-skinned and very different looking. So go ahead and research that. I found the original. This is one of the originals right here. And this is how they depict the American Indian. Alright, if you notice something about this image, it looks just like the symbol of Britain or Britannica, how she's sitting on like a wheel or something. Alright, you see the original? Alright. So we're also going to read at the same time this book, which is basically the same one I just mentioned, but it's a different edition. It's maybe a new edition, it says here, with numerous improvements by 1860. Alright, so it says Pictorial History of the United States. Again, look at the cover, you still see a copper-colored Indian here. You see the symbol that I was talking about. It looks like Britannica. She's sitting on a wheel and stuff. Because this is where it truly originated. All these images and these representations, right? This is the true old world. Check out the American Indians, as you can see. What do you see here? This is so-called Negroes. How can you deny? Alright, I mean, look at the distinction they make. White person, so-called black person, right? Dutch trading with the Indians. Dutch trading with the Indians. Alright, do you remember who you are? Take a look. Get this other image right here. Let's read about it. It says Indian chief. An Indian chief. Alright, we got this other image. Take a look at this one. I mean, very clear, right? This is not a mistake. Alright, so it says Philip exciting the Indians to war. King Philip. Alright, we just saw another representation of him before. This is another one. You see? Over the years, how they changed his image. He was a so-called Negro, leader of the Pequots. Remember, the Pequots got taken all the way to the West Indies. One place was Providence Island. If you know part 3 of my Aboriginal series videos, I show you that they were referred to as cannibal Negroes, these Pequots, when they were arriving at Providence Island off the coast of Nicaragua and Honduras in the Caribbean, right? They were sending them there. You can see King Philip, all right, Pequots. Alright, so this is another image and depiction of the American Indians. You can see there's no denying the dark skin, you know, the swarthy, copper colored. Alright, it says Indians and a village. Alright, this is in the old version. 1844, we just saw the 1860 version of Tecumseh. Now take a look at the 1844 version of Tecumseh, right? Tecumseh, look at the name. Alright, let me go back up. Look at this, Tecumseh. What's this? Fighting, Chickamauga Wars, right? Tecumseh.
Or 1812, Tecumseh. Alright, take a very close look at this image. Very symbolic, meaningful, realistic image of what really happened. Look how they're doing it, evangelizing your ancestors. Alright, what do they bring? Gods and of wood and stone. Speaking a foreign language, it says Catholic priests instructing the Indians. Catholic, teaching them about baby Jesus. Drop the J, you get Zeus, Krishna, Mitre, Jupiter, Zeus. That's what they were teaching the tribes. Alright, this is another image from the new edition. This is in South America. Look at the Indian. Look at the llamas, camels, come on, horses running around. I thought horses weren't over here. See what they're showing you? Horses running around wildly. Scene of South America, alright? Look at these wild big birds, whatever they are. Crocodiles seen in South America. Aboriginal. Horses in the background. We got this image right here, almost at the end of the book. It says Indian massacres in Florida. So we've seen a lot of images in this book already, but this one wasn't in the other ones. Alright, look at them. Alright, look at that. Same ones they depict in the when they're selling slaves, right? Depict them the same way. That's how they draw them. The Native Races of the Pacific States of North America by Hubert Howie Bancroft. And continuing even more correlation, it says here, at San Jose the men are almost all rather above the middling stature and well built. Very few indeed are what may be called undersized. Their complexions are dark but not Negro-like. Some seem to possess great muscular strength. They have very coarse black hair, coarse. Some of the women were more than 5 feet 6 inches in height. And speaking of the Californian Indians in general, they are of a middling or rather of a low stature and of a dark brown color, approaching to black. What does all this mean? Large projecting lips and broad flat Negro-like noses. Again, large projecting lips and broad flat Negro-like noses. Who are they describing? They're describing you. Very strong resemblance to the Negroes. A very strong resemblance. It is so-called Negroes. Lord Natural, Volume 1, page 249. More swarthy in complexion and of less stature than those east of the Rocky Mountains. So more swarthy in complexion
than the ones in the Rocky Mountains, says there. More of the Asiatic cast of countenance than the Eastern tribe. Delano's life on the plains, page 304. And in the bottom it says, low foreheads and skins, as black as Guinea Negroes. As black as Guinea Negroes. And just a few more sources. It says here, skin of such a deep reddish brown. A deep reddish brown. That it seems almost black. It seems almost black to them. Because it's a deep reddish brown. They have no words for it, right? Figures human race. Page 493. That's where you can find that. Bushmen's spewing their Aztecs. They're talking about the Aztecs. On page 528. Forbes of California, page 180. All right. Harper's Monthly, volume 13, page 583. All those books say the same thing. A deep reddish brown that seems almost black. All right. Smart in Smithsonian Rep 1867, page 418. Their features were flat Negro-like, small-legged, big-bellied, and broad-shoulders. Again, Negro-like. And continue with the book. It says the Pimas and their neighbors are men of fine physique, tall and bony, many of them exceeding 6 feet in height, broad-chested, erect, and muscular, but frequently light-limbed with small hands. Though the feet of both sexes are large, they have large features expressive of frankness and good nature, with prominent cheekbones and aquiline nose, those of the women being somewhat retroussed. The females are symmetrically formed, with beautifully tapered limbs, full bust, pleasing features, embellished with white, evenly set teeth. Their coarse hair grows to a great length and thickness. Coarse hair, and their dark complexion becomes yet darker towards the south. The inhabitants of the tablelands are of various hues. Some are olive, some brown, others of a red copper color. In the Sierras, some have a bluish tint as if dyed with indigo. Alright? You hear that? The natives of the Tierras Calientes are of a darker complexion, inclining to black. There are some called Indios Pintos, whose cuticle is a less deep color, inclining more to yellowish and marked with dark copper colored spots. So various hues, again, different types of shades of this copper color, right? So that was a very informative and correlating book. Again, this was the book called The Native Races of the Pacific State of North America from 1874 to 75 by Hubert Howe Bancroft. And this is the part right here where he's talking about the dark or so-called Negro Californians, copper colored Swarthy Californians.
Alright, so just want to go ahead and show you this book. It's called Historia Naturalis Brasilae. I got the PDF. This is written in 1648 and it's by Franciscos Haquios, Joannes de Laet, Elsverium Lut, and George Margraf. And then actually you can see all the fruits and animals. Historia Naturalis de Brasilae, right, from Brazil. And so these are the aborigines on the cover of this book. This is the colored version. You can see a black and white version here at John Carter Library. So let's go back to the book. Colored version, you can see distinguish between this white man right here, Wit, this creature, White, W-I-G-H-T, Wit, White, and then you see the aboriginals here. Alright, see the distance, you see like a temple and them dancing. Doesn't this look beautiful? Paradise. You walk and it's just fruit everywhere as you're walking towards the temple, just like when you're going to Talomeco, the temple of Tolomeco. Alright. This image as well. So let me zoom out. Alright, you see this is a American Aboriginal. And you see this is watermelon. It says in the description, Native American and watermelons, creator Charles D. Rochefort. And this is from 1658. It's from Historia Naturale e Morale des Illes Antilles le Américae. An Aboriginal and his watermelon. Alright, what? Isn't watermelon good? I love watermelon. We got a lot of it here in Costa Rica. actually make a lot of it in smoothies. So I eat a lot of watermelon.
All right, I'm going to read from this book now. It's called The Indian Races of North and South America. This is by Charles D. Wolfe Brownell, published by Boston, Dayton, and Wentworth, 86 Washington Street in 1853. Continuing a little bit more down, it says, the most distinguishing peculiarities of the race are the reddish or copper color of the skin, the prominence of the cheekbone, right? Cheekbone, and the color and quality of the hair. This is not absolutely straight. It's not straight, but somewhat wavy, all right? It's wavy and has not inaptly been compared to the mane of the horse. Less from its coarseness than from its glossy hue and the manner in which it hangs. Their eyes are universally dark. The women are rather short, with broader faces and a greater tendency to obesity than the men, but many of them possess a symmetrical figure with an agreeable and attractive countenance. And this picture is from chapter 3 of this book regarding the Nistenukes, or the Crees. It says these people possess all the ordinary characteristics of the American Indian: the copper complexion, black flowing hair, well-proportioned limbs, and keen black eyes. Travelers speak of women as being far more attractive in personal appearance than the generality of the squaws. Upon them devolves all the drudgery of domestic life, while the men devote their exclusive attention to hunting or war. So I just want to go ahead and continue in this page. It says, our author continues, their color is a copper tint, pleasing to the eye and the skin, where constantly covered from the sun, is little darker than that of the natives of southern Europe. All right? So this is a little darker than the natives of the southern Europe. Their hair is straight and coarse and continues perfectly black till an advanced period of life.
I want to show you this other image right here. I just want to see, so you can see the people. Just look at the people that are being depicted here. All right. They're so-called Negroes. These are Aborigines, Aboriginals. It says here, marriage customs of Native Americans of Brazil. All right, more depictions. And this is from Lusthof der Woordleken. It's from a Dutch book written in 1643 by Peter de Neyn. All right, Native American women stand before others who dance. A man cuts her leg with a knife. Also includes basket and feathers. What? See what they're doing. And another image from the same book. As you can see here, another marriage depiction. The Amarucans. This is from Brazil. This is in 1681. And actually, this one is text describes the marriage customs of the natives of Cuba. All right, so we just saw the Brazil ones, and these are the natives of Cuba. All right, from the same book. This is how they're drawn. So they look the same, right? These are the Amarucans, the Aboriginals. All right, I got another image here from the John Carter Brown Library Archive of Early American Images. They have a copy here of this image. This is in Guatemala. All right, here's another Aboriginal right here, and another one. 3 different Indians. All right, one is lighter. All right, let me just give you the description. It says Native Americans and European present offerings to a monk. Includes their offering of both animal skin, sugar canes, and a frog or toad whose blood is collected in a vessel. In the background, volcano erupts, and a llama carries a burden up a hill. Also includes a battle between a lion and a bear. A lion and a bear. Alright, a lion and a bear. In America, a lion. Now we just did the animal video, alright, where the carnivores and mammals originate here in America. Alright, so a lion, a llama going up, says to the mountain. We got 3 Indians here. See their complexion. These are Negroes, so-called Negroes, right? Alright, from the creator, which is Thomas Gage, and the source is from the book. So it's from Thomas Gage and his Travel by Sea and Land, a book he has. It's in German. But you can see how they drew the, and this was in Guatemala, all right? So you can see how he drew the Aboriginals. So the description again says Thomas Gage, an English Dominican friar, reported that the Pocoman Maya, all right, the Pocoman Maya. So this is Pocoman Maya. You see how dark they are? Pocoman Maya. You see this? This is a Pocoman Maya. A Maya. You see how dark this person is, right? A Maya. Alright, so the source date of this picture is 1693. Alright, 1693, again by Thomas Gage. Pokemon Maya right here, as you can see. A Pokemon Maya. Any more evidence? Now this is from the same book from Thomas Gage. And on page 264, again, that's the book, His Travels by Sea and Land, Thomas Gage. It says Native Americans threshed grain using horses, also includes sickle whip. So it says text discusses harvesting of wheat or triticum in Guatemala. Thomas Gage, an English Dominican friar, returned to England after several decades in Spanish America, became a Protestant and principal advisor to Oliver Cromwell. Alright, so this image is from 1700 on his book, page 264. Alright, so again, this is from his book. This is an Indian from Guatemala. These are all Indians from Guatemala. This is how he's depicted. And why would he depict them this dark? Alright, if they weren't like that when he saw them. This is what he saw when he went there.
About them. So it says here in the book, North American Indians, being letters and notes on their manners, customs, and conditions, written during 8 years' travel amongst the wildest tribes of Indians in North America. 1832 to 1839, again by George Catlin. This is volume 1 of this book. It has 2 volumes. The world know generally that the Indians of North America are copper colored. Right away, right? The world know. The whole world knows generally that the Indians of North America are copper colored. In those times, everybody knew. Continuing, the Indians of North America, as I have before said, are copper colored. Again, copper colored, with long black hair, black eyes, tall, straight, and elastic forms, are less than 2 millions in number, were originally the undisputed owners of the soil, and got their title to their lands from the Great Spirit who created them on it. So where did they get their title for the land? From Hawa, from the Most High, the Great Spirit. So they are aboriginal to this land, and this land is theirs, given to them, right? The lots were split. Do you guys remember that?
Same page says, the reader will at once see by the above facts that there is enough upon the faces and heads of these people to stamp them peculiar when he meets them in the heart of this almost boundless wilderness, presenting such diversities of color in the complexion and hair. Some different types of shades, different colors, not just, we are seeing the general copper color, but there is light-skinned, or as they call them, mulattoes in other records. And corroborating with what I just said, he's going to say it. When he knows what he has seen and what he has read, that all other primitive tribes known in America are dark copper colored with jet black hair. Again, they're basically all the primitive tribes known in America are dark copper colored with jet black hair. From these few facts alone, the reader will see that I am amongst a strange and interesting people, and know how to pardon me if I lead him through a maze of novelty and mysteries to the knowledge of a strange, yet kind and hospitable people, whose fate, like that of all their race, is sealed, whose doom is fixed to live just long enough to be imperfectly known, and then to fall before the fell disease or sword of civilizing devastation.
Alright, just want to show you this other picture right here, this other image and drawing. It's called The Habit of the Tapoyars. Alright, check it out. This is how they look. Back up a little bit. Alright, it's from this book right here. Alright, and I just want to read the description to you. It says Native American or Tapoyar man and woman of Brazil. The woman carries a basket on her back and holds a parrot. The man carries a war club and spears in the background. Alright, so the source of this is a collection of voyages and travels, some now first printed from original manuscripts. 1 and 2. Alright, American Indians, aboriginals of Brazil. Alright, you see how they're depicted, right? Got jaguar marks all over them, tattoos, you see that? So this is the book you find that last image I just showed you. Alright, so it's again a collection of voyages and travels, some now first printed from original manuscripts, others now first published in English. And I just want to zoom into this picture because I believe in South America they're depicting. Now you see this. All right, what do you see here? Elephants and lions. All right, you see the feathers right here. All right, you see the people. What's going on here? This is another page in the book. As you can see, these are some the habits of Brazilians. It says here, Brazilians. So this is the image we just saw on John Carter Brown Library. So look at this, St. Vincent Harbor. The habit of the tapo yards. All right. We're in this book, the Smithsonian Institute Bureau of American Ethnology, Bulletin 143. It says here, Handbook of South American Indians. Julian H. Stewart, editor, volume 6, Physical Anthropology, Linguistics, and Cultural Geography of South American Indians. The tribes living in the present country of Peru are dark brown. Again, the tribes living in the present country of Peru are dark brown, according to Eberhardt's 1910 observations. The Ayamara, living in the Andean highlands of Peru, have been studied by Macmillan 1927, who speaks of them as having a swarthy brown to coppery skin or even a dark olive color. Again, swarthy brown to coppery, swarthy black, dark, swarthy brown to coppery skin or even a dark olive color. Again, the Peruvians, the Ayamara, Inca, swarthy brown to coppery skin or even a dark olive color, some being lighter with a yellowish hue, All right, so we're in this other book. It's called The History of the Conquest of Mexico by the Spaniards. This was originally written in Spanish by Antonio de Solis. I have the Spanish original, translated this English by Thomas Townsend. All right, this is a very old book. Just want to take it to an image here. All right, so I just wanted to show you this image in this book I found. All right, you see this brother right here. Here you go. This is the Aztec Empire. I believe this is when Cortez arrived. All right, this is the Aztec Empire. You see, these are the Mexica people. All right, you see what they look like? Look at this. Now, I just wanted you to see the palaces, right? The monuments, the architecture that they had, their city, how it was built. The Spanish didn't come build this, it was already there. Right? So when they got there, you see these aboriginals and these metropolis, very clean streets, fine architecture, very populated. These are the Mexica people in the Aztec Empire when they arrived. Again, the history of conquest of Mexico by the Spaniards. This book is from 1724. All right, just take a look at this image as well. All right, what you see here. All right, in the description is going to tell you that this is a portrait of Moctezuma II, the last emperor of the Mexica or Aztecs. He is shown with feather headdress, garments, and shield, and is holding a spear. All right, so again. All right, so again, Moctezuma. All right, Moctezuma. All right, you see? Back up so you can see lighter skinned people. You see how dark he is, right? This is from 1625. And this is from the book Historia General de los Hechos de los Castellanos by Herrera and Torcedillas, 1625, Antonio Herrera. The book Archives of Aboriginal Knowledge, containing all the original papers laid before Congress respecting the history, antiquities, language, ethnology, pictography, rites, superstitions, and mythology of the Indian tribes of the United States by Henry Schoolcraft. So it says here that Chippewyans are sober, timorous, and vagrant with a selfish disposition, which has sometimes created suspicions of their integrity. Their stature has nothing remarkable in it, but though they are seldom corpulent, they are sometimes robust. Their complexion is swarthy. Swarthy. What does swarthy mean? Right? We learned this already. That's dark skin, black skin, Negro skin, swarthy, their features coarse, and their hair lank, but not always of a dingy black, nor have they universally the piercing eye which generally animates the Indian countenance.
Got this image right here as well. Alright, just want to read the description for you. It says Native American man, woman, child, and baby, includes bow and arrows. This is from John Gabriel Stedman, from the book Narrative of 5 Years Expedition Against the Revolted Negroes of Suriname. Alright. Written in 1818, and the note says both the Caribs and Arawaks inhabited Suriname, but the Caribs pushed the Arawaks out. They referred to themselves as the Kalina. Stedman, a member of the Scots Brigade in the Netherlands, went to Suriname to help repress a revolt of former slaves. His book, translated to 6 languages, describes, among other things, the cruel treatment of slaves in that colony. Alright, so this is his representation of a Indiana Caraiba, so a Carib family. So when he says Negroes, who's he talking about? When he's talking about slaves, who are they enslaving? These are the Negroes.
So we're now in this book. It's called The Spanish Settlements Within the Present Limits of the United States from 1513 to 1561 by Woodbury Lowery. All right, and it says it's written in 1911. We're in chapter 2 of this book, and it says the natives and their customs. So in this very first sentence of this chapter, it correlates what we're talking about in this video. So it says, when first visited by the Spaniard, our continent was inhabited by copper-colored natives to whom, regardless of great diversity of type throughout its vast extent, the one name of Indian was generally applied by all European explorers alike. Again, Webster's Dictionary, where they tell us that the Americans are the copper-colored aboriginals, right, that the Europeans or the Spaniards encountered, right? So it's correlating. We already know what copper looks like, right? Especially these old copper pennies. A little further down it says, but as a rule, there was found a sturdy, vigorous race having the straight black hair and the high cheekbones, generally characteristic of the North American Indian, and having the peculiar olive admixture to the cinnamon complexion common to all southern tribes. Cinnamon, and we all know what cinnamon looks like, right? And who would actually have the complexion of cinnamon today? So I got this other book called Old Panama and Castilla del Oro by C.L.G. Anderson. And it says that this is a narrative history of the discovery, conquest, and settlement by the Spaniards of Panama, Darien, Veragua, Santo Domingo, Santa Marta, Cartagena, Nicaragua, and Peru. Alright, it says the aboriginal people of the Bahamas, right? The Lucayans, discovered by Columbus, were a tall, graceful, dark-skinned race of barbarians. Alright, dark-skinned race. They call them barbarians. They call you savage. They call you devils. Alright, but they're the savage ones. They're the barbarians. Barbary. Who's coming from Barbary? Alright, were tall, graceful, dark-skinned race. They were gentle and loving, quite unlike their cousins on the mainland. They were loving and gentle. Or their fierce neighbors to the south, the Caribs, who dwelt in the Lesser Antilles. They possessed pottery and stone implements like celts, arrowheads, mortars, and pestles, and were experts in the use of their canoes. Columbus well described them. All of them go as naked as they came into the world. Their forms are graceful, their features good, their hair as coarse, right, as coarse as a horse tail, cut short in front and worn long upon their shoulders. They are dark of complexion. They are dark of complexion. They are dark of complexion like the Canary Islanders, right? So they're quoting Columbus journals, right? Because this is the chapter talking about his first voyage. So in the next page, it says, such were the timid, innocent aborigines of the Bahamas. It's still talking about the Lucayans, all right? Living and eating like simplicity and happiness in their island homes. They were living in Eden. Just 20 years later, when the Spaniards had exterminated nearly all the natives of Hispaniola, All right, don't dodge the hijack, exterminate. Yeah, they reduced the population a lot. They were dying from disease and overwork and a lot of suicides and a lot of escapes. All right, so what did they do? They stole away the Lucayans, who were living and eating like simplicity and happiness. All right, the ancestors living and eating like simplicity. They got stolen, they got taken away, put in ships, and sent to where? And sent by a total of 40,000 to slave in the mines and on the plantations of Hispaniola. But when you go study this history, they start talking about Hispaniola and how they were losing the population, that local population, they had to get Negroes, right? They tell you they came from Africa, right? They switched the narrative. But right here, clearly letting you know that they stole the Aboriginal, this innocent, timid, Eden-like people, gentle, loving, peaceful people, and made them go slave in the mines on the plantations of Hispaniola. That's Dominican Republic and Haiti today. In about 50 years, these people became extinct, it says. All right, so dodge the hijack. You're still there. All right, they couldn't get rid of all of you. All right, remember, these are dark-skinned people. Dark-skinned people. All right, and these were not Africans.
All right. I just want to show you this image again. We're in the John Carter Brown Library, the archives here of early American images. All right, and it says that these are, all right, so figure 192 and 93. It says these are Canadian and Honduran Indians. All right, so hold up, 192 and 193. You see the numbers right here? Let me go zoom in. 192 and 193. It says 192 right here on the left, Canadian and Honduran Indians. All right, so take a look. Canadian and Honduran Indians. What is the difference? Tell me. Same people, right? All right, in the top it says figure 190, 91, Iroquois Chief and Virginia Indians in the top. Iroquois Chief and Virginia Indians. All right, a little bit more redder. All right, but you see what we're depicting right here? Look at this one again. Honduran and Canadian Indians. All right, let me just read the source. It says, this is from Gottlieb Tobias Wilhelm again, in the German book, Unterhaltung über den Menschen. All right, 1819 is the source. Says, image of Virginia Indians derived from Theodore de Bry's America, Part 1, Plate 6 and 7, and Gottlieb Tobias Wilhelm, 1758 to 1811, was a barbarian clergyman and naturalist in Augsburg. This book is an encyclopedic overview representing scientific knowledge of the time, including mankind delineation of natural history. Again, this ain't no, drawings, fake drawings. No, this is how they looked. This is why they depict them like that. Look, Canadian and Honduran. All right, Aboriginals. All right.
All right, so we're in this book now. It's called Researches, Philosophical and Antiquarian, Concerning the Aboriginal History of America by J.H. McCullough, MD, and this is written in 1829. All right, and we're on page 13. We're going to read right from chapter 1 a little bit, and it's regarding on the complexion and physical appearance of the Aboriginal nations of America. All right, right away. Systematic writers have also considered the native tribes of America as fifth class of the human race, under the distinct term of the copper-colored race. To this term we have much to object, not only as respects the Americans, but other nations, from whom it seems to us they have improperly separated by this theoretic distinction. So a little bit more down, he says, we consider, therefore, that the color of the American Indians in general is brown. In general, the color of the American Indians is brown. Who is brown? All right, we're not talking about tans here. All right, because nobody's really black. Who's really black? The color black. All right, like crayon. Again, we therefore consider that the color of the American Indians in general is brown, differing in intensity with various tribes. Intensity, so there's more intense in some, or darkness, more darker, right? And less intense or lighter, right? According to the tribes and according to various localities. But that is almost impossible to say what that brown color principally resembles. The cinnamon, in our apprehension, the nearest approach to it, cinnamon. Again, what does cinnamon look like? And who is that? Who looks like that? Who has that complexion? Though still too inaccurate for general comparison, under these circumstances, it seems most correct simply to use the general term brown man, who will thus. So he's basically saying, I prefer to call them brown men than copper-colored men. But this is what he's pointing out. But what is he really saying? Kind of saying the same thing, right? All right, so we're just going to show a couple examples of what he's talking about, right? So it says the Indians near the source of the Peace River are of a swarthy yellow complexion. Swarthy means dark, so dark yellow complexion. Mackenzie's Voyage, 195. The complexion of the Quapas, like that of the Choctaws and Creeks, is dark. Again, the complexion of the Quapas, like that of the Choctaws and Creeks, is dark and destitute of anything like the croupious tinge. Nuttall's Travels, page 83. It says here, Baron Humboldt remarks, if the uniform tint of the skin be more coppery and redder toward the north, it is on the contrary among the Chaimas of the deep brown, inclining to tawny. The denomination of copper-colored men, Rogis, could never have originated in equinoctial America to designate the natives. So he's saying that in South America, they're actually more brown than copper. All right, they're more copper towards the North America. That's what Humboldt's opinion is. All right, it says description of the Orinoco by Gumilla, Volume 1, page 107. The color of the Indians on the borders of the Orinoco is so diversified that he could not say nothing of it under one general head. Guaicurus of Brazil are of a darker tint than copper. Darker than copper? The Guaicurus of Brazil. This is in Southeast History of Brazil, Volume 3, page 671. Though America possesses some dark brown men, approaching to black, yet it has been almost universally believed that there were no aboriginal blacks or Negroes found on this continent. All right, so that's the hijack that we grew up with, right? But from considering the peculiar circumstances under which a black race was found in North America, I hold it more than probable that the common opinion is erroneous. All right? It was false. It's erroneous. Because when you go with research and when you do see that there was so-called black Indians or a black race found in North America, the subject is still in obscurity and belongs to the terra incognita of America, laying between the rivers Columbia and Gila. The authorities I have been able to examine respecting the present Negro appearance of the Indians in that region are as follows. All right, so pay close attention. The color of the Indians of the Californians mission, seen by La Peyro's Voyage, Volume 2, 197 and page 212, very nearly approaches that of the Negroes, whose hair is not woolly, and in another place the color of these Indians, which is that of Negroes. Landdorf, who visited San Francisco on the coast of California, confirms the observations of La Peyros, for he says in Voyage, page 440, the Indians there are of a very dark complexion, approaching to black, so-called black, so-called Negro. Do you remember who you are? They're talking about you. They have large projecting lips, broad flat Negro-like noses. Indeed, many of their features, as well as their physiognomy and almost their color, bear strong resemblance to the Negroes. So it says Juarez, History of Guatemala, 346. In describing the complexion of the peoples of that province, which almost terminates in the country visited by Balboa, says expressly that some of the Indians there are white, others black, and others red or copper colored, and seemingly considers them original nations by this enumeration. Alright, original. They're still original.
Alright. Got another image here. Alright, you see these people? Alright, I know you know some of you don't agree with the hair, but look at their complexion. Alright, we had all types of hair. Alright, it says 194 and 195. Alright, 194 and 195. You see the bottom? Alright, And it says those are Mexican Indians. These are Indians, aboriginals of Mexico. You see that? And then 196 in the bottom. Look what it says here, 196. I guess it's both of them, right? You see different kinds. There's dark skin and light skin. You see that? 196 is Carib Indians. Same people, different complexions. All right, you see that? All right, so let's go down. It says figures 194 and 195, Native American men, women, children from Mexico. Also includes men wearing a poncho or blanket, and another man wearing skin cloak, hat, and sandals. And it says figure 196, Native American men, women, child from the Guianas or Suriname. Includes tattoos, sword, man smoking a pipe, face ornament or elaborate basket, arrows, and man wearing animal skin. All right, this is from 1819. Same, Tobias Gautier and Thomas Debris, Theodore Debris.